My name's Chris and welcome back to the Benchtop Micro Shop. If you've ever used a compound miter saw, you know that these little guys are notorious for throwing dust everywhere. It doesn't matter if you have a dust collector or dust extractor hooked up to it. Generally they throw dust mostly in one direction, but there's always a cloud that surrounds the machine that's very hard to control. There are a ton of solutions out there for these. Trust me, I've read all the articles, I've watched all the videos, I've dug through it to come up with the best solution for at least my miter saw and my situation. I decided to optimize this for my setup, and I would love to share that with you. If you want to see how I did it, stick around. So going through a couple of the options that are out there, some of the best are fully enclosed shrouds. There's all kinds of commercial versions of these or do-it-yourself options. Some people have sophisticated shrouds with dust collection in the bottom, downdraft tables below, and mechanisms on the side with sliding doors so that whenever you change the angle, you can adjust the shroud so it fits tight in around the blade. These are some of the best, especially if you have a high flow dust collector. It'll pull all the dust back into the shroud and into your dust collection system. Now for my setup, you'll see I have my miter saw along the right hand side of a long workbench. This is because my whole shop is contained inside of a rolling tool cart, and the opposite side of the bench I need to run full sheet goods through my table saw, which is about where the camera is sitting. And I can't have my miter saw on the opposite side because that would interfere with the sheet goods when I run them through. So this is where my miter saw has to be located for my setup, and I can't build a large shroud without taking up more of my precious workbench space. So what I've done is essentially shrunk the shroud right around my blade and mounted it to the arm of my saw. So the materials I used are very cheap. This stuff is rubber drawer liner. I'm sure many of you have used it in the past. You can literally get a roll of this stuff from anywhere. I probably bought the most expensive roll I saw today, which was around $15, because I actually have a lot of drawers I'm going to line in my tool drawer. I only used about 15 or 20 inches of this entire roll making this setup. You can also get it at the dollar store, and I chose the color black just because I thought it would go well with my shop. But there's all kinds of other colors and cheaper options out there for you. And then I also picked up a tube of rare earth magnets from Harbor Freight for about $2.79, and I think I only used 4 of them in my final design. So let's go ahead and deconstruct this design a little bit and see how it works. Okay, so this is an outer shroud. I made 2 pieces to the shroud. Really what this does is keep the dust that really wants to shoot out around the side of the blade, just keeps it down and in. So any dust that's going to fly out into the air, it's just going to redirect it down back into the airstream of the dust extractor. Now, if you've never taken the stock dust chute out of one of these Dewalts, mine is held in with a single T20 Torx. And you just push it out. You got to rotate it 90 degrees to get it out of there. I left the back side of this shroud in place because I have it held in place with a screw in the back, but it's just a rectangular piece, trimmed so it doesn't interfere with the fence or anything. And then you can see all I did was make a little shroud to extend the stock shroud. Now this may look similar to, it's a little bit larger, but there's a gentleman by the name of Daniel Pattison that has a Bosch Glide he did something similar with. And then if you've seen the Festool Capex, that's a saw that's notoriously great at collecting the dust in its stock setting. It has a boot that comes out similar to this, and it's a very similar rubber material. But this is the stock shroud. You can see it's got 1 screw. It fits up in here just like this. And all of this space between the blade, by the way, my saw is unplugged for the purposes of this video. All of this space is open for dust to escape. And then the back side of this saw is also open. And then all I did was cut this general rectangular smiley face shape and trim it to fit around my boot. So each saw is a little bit different, so you'll have to play with this for yours. But I just wrapped it tightly and then used a small nail set. I think this is a 1/32 inch. Poked that hole through it. I also used that hole to align the hole in the through hole in the shroud with the female hole in the actual arm itself to line that up. Now, one modification I had to make to the stock port itself, I had to trim the plastic from the top and bottom a little bit. It fits very snugly into the saw in that section. There's about a 30-second gap that was stock, but on the sides there's almost a 3/32 gap that was packed full of dust. And all I was doing was creating a space so when this rubber is wrapped around it, there's still space for the rubber to fit along the sides and now the bottom and top as it goes back into its stock recess. Anyhow, that's it. I'm not going to give you a demonstration in this video. If you want to see that, go ahead and click on over to my Instagram and you can see exactly what's left. I'm telling you, it's negligible. It changed the saw from a dust monster to something I can use indoors for repeatable cuts and not even have to clean up afterwards. I was flabbergasted at the difference. And for a couple bucks, I wish I would have done it years ago. Anyhow, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hammer that thumbs up. If you have tips for your saw or you want to link another video or give your tip, please throw it down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.